arrests, spreading all across social media, particularly one at 14th and R Northwest over the weekend, where ICE agents tackled a delivery driver and took him into custody. What's your reaction when you're seeing these videos in the city, how they're affecting people? And then a follow-up, given that the judge in the lawsuit has yet to officially rule on whether MPD will be forced to cooperate with ICE, what do you want MPD officers to be doing in the meantime as they're going around the city and potentially being asked to cooperate with these kinds of arrests?
So let me start. I don't want to comment on individual incidents because I won't have all of the details. I will say this, however, the focus should be on violent crime, and that's what has been promoted, that we're focusing on violent criminals and violent offenders and violence. And nobody is against focusing on driving down any level of violence. And so if this is really about immigration enforcement, I think the administration should make that plain. Yeah.
Sorry. You've talked a lot about how one of your goals is just steering the city to the other side of this administration with its home rule intact. Given the current situation, do you think the city's home rule is at risk, and how are you reflecting on this moment as it sort of seems like it's some of your concerns or potential concerns about this administration are starting to be realized?
I don't think my concerns are not new, all right? And I think anybody who has followed the rhetoric from the campaign throughout these attacks and the rhetoric around them is not new. Yep.
Marielle Carbone with DC News Now. I'm just wondering if you've had any conversations over the last week with your federal partners just about agents identifying themselves, having their faces covered. It's a concern we're hearing and seeing.
We have. I think I mentioned that last week about being very important to us that agents be identified. I did ask the chief to have further conversation about these masks. There's no reason for a law enforcement official to be masked.
Did she get any response on that?
I've asked her to talk to it. I will continue to have to follow up. Yeah.
Brad Bell with Channel 7. Couple questions.
Yeah.
Some messaging coming from the administration, the White House today, saying that D.C. is being made safer, and they put out some arrest numbers and numbers of guns being seized. How would you characterize this operation? Has it made D.C. safer?
MPD takes guns off the street every day and every week. And any time you have a surge of officers, I would expect that you have some results. I say repeatedly, we need 500 more officers in D.C. With 500 more officers, get 500 more officers worth of results. And so what is not necessary, however, is this kind of commandeering of the attempted commandeering of the force itself, and the expanded, I think, work that is not related to violence.
So additionally, with this, the takeover,
what does that mean?
What coordination is there? There's this
well, let me correct you. Let me correct you. There is no takeover. What there is a surge in federal law enforcement. And that surge in federal law enforcement necessarily has to coordinate with the Metropolitan Police Department under the leadership of Pamela Smith, the Chief of Police.
Are they coordinating to your satisfaction?
I think there's going to be work to be done, for sure. But, there's work to be done. Yes.
These soldiers.
That's a question for the Department of the Army.
Well, you must be concerned about that since they're not trained in law enforcement.
They can't do law enforcement as far as I know.
So that's got to be concerning to you that if they're armed.
That is not what I have been advised. And unless their orders have somehow changed, I don't know that they can engage in arrest. Yes.
If I can follow up.
Yes, sure.
Is there any coordination between your office and the White House, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel?
Yes.
But are you getting the answers to your questions, or is it not as clear as you would like it?
I think we're 7 or 8 days into this situation, and it evolves.
What does that mean?
It means just what I said.
Evolving or it evolves?
I'm not gonna like get into the difference in suffixes with you.
Mayor Bowser.
Oh, yes, it's changed from day to day. Let me put it that way. Hold on, excuse me.
Sort of on that note, you know, on last Monday, you'd come out and said that while this was unsettling, that potentially this could be a productive partnership with law enforcement over 30 days. Has your approach or your strategy in dealing with the administration changed since that time in terms of whether this could be productive, or are there more concerns? And are there specific things you're watching that could present a risk to the DC community that would change that strategy further?
Well, let me just put it to you this way. I will engage our government in ensuring that we are following the law. Now, what you haven't heard me say any differently in the last 7 days is that the district will follow the law. When there have been changes or attempts to change that was outside of the law, that's why we challenged those changes in court. And as a result, those changes have been backed off from. And so our strategy will deal with the reality as it is presented.
Even just to, the second part of that question, even within the law, are there particular areas you're watching closely that if it could present a risk to your community that you would have to?
This is what we're watching closely. How can we be responsive in a way that is strategic and can be helpful? Another way to put it, how can we respond in a way that's strategic and averts harm? And I can't give you a laundry list, but I can assure you that very smart people who work across the government are working on that, and we are we're organizing ourselves in a way to deal with this incident response that is most efficient for DC government. But what I would caution everybody to think is, because you're all very logical, smart people, and you want all of this to make sense. This doesn't make sense. You know it doesn't make sense. The numbers on the ground in the district don't support 1,000 people from other states coming to Washington, D.C. You know that. We're in this beautiful school with children singing about to go to school in a beautifully renovated building with the most prepared teachers in the country. You know the facts on the ground don't support this. You know that. You know it couldn't be done in a neighboring state. You know that. This is not about something that fits into logic. So if you want to know what's happening, the question is really not for us. It's for why the military would be deployed in an American city to police Americans. That's the question. And it's not for me. Yes.
Mayor, the last message for community members who are obviously concerned with the heightened immigration enforcement, and they're going to be returning to school. We saw some of the previous threats that the administration made, and schools gearing up, Mundo Verde, and now they're going to be walking to school and they're seeing people getting picked up. What's your message to those families as they're bracing for it?
This is my message. I think as a nation, we need to demand comprehensive immigration reform. There needs to be a pathway to citizenship for hardworking people who have made this country their home. And we need to separate the discussion of enforcement against violent offenders and everyday hardworking people who have made this country their home. For us in D.C., we have many immigrants who have lived here illegally because of TPS protection.